morning, everybody. Good to see everybody in the building. Christine made it in the nick of time. Well, you pulled a me this morning, Christine. It was like, oh, I don't know what happened last night, but Christine is pushing. Everything good over there on your end? Give me a thumbs up. You straight? I love it. I love it, guys. Let's get some people in the room really quickly. Let's go ahead and invite some folks to the room. And KBCN, great morning. It's good to see everybody. If you're tuning in by way of Facebook, YouTube, or even LinkedIn, can you put me in the chat so that we can see that you're there? And we would love to greet you more personally. It's a Friday. We're calling it Face It Friday. We're beginning to rename it. Next week, we'll get really serious, but it's going to be about relationships. And so as a way to kind of begin that subject, every Friday, we're just going to talk about facing the reality. It is what it is, but what we doing about it? That's really that's it. It is what it is. Okay, let's get that. Okay, so now what are we doing about that? Are we just complaining, or are we actually trying to fix this thing? Because sometimes to fix it is to move on. Let's start there. You've been in a relationship with people and you just realize this ain't working. We got to fix this, and we got to move some kind of way. Either I'm going to jail or I got to move on. Let's go around the room. Rocky, how was your evening last night? Grand Rising, Mama, how you feeling?
Good morning. I'm well. My evening was good. I don't think, what did I do last night? I think I worked on my website, built my website up, and then that was it. I ordered me some food and I relaxed and went to bed.
Ordered some food. What did we eat last night? What did we eat last night, bro?
Chili's,
bacon,
like chicken ranch quesadillas. But it was so good.
She said it was so good. I can't do the hot stuff. I'm going to have a problem. So when you said Chili's, I just immediately went hot. So it was Sweet Chili's?
No, Chili's, the restaurant.
Oh, the restaurant Chili's. Got it.
Yeah, I don't eat hot stuff, Coach. That's enough.
Okay. All right, that's enough for me.
Except wasabi.
Speaking of wasabi, we had sushi last night. They had sushi last night. I'm gonna let Cherie chime in on that. If you're a sushi eater, put me in the chat. You and sushi get along. Put me in the chat. And you know we got a couple of questions around sushi. So, you know, there's sushi, and then there's what some people call sushi. Because I'm of the opinion that it ain't all created equal. My sushi lovers, where you at? Put me in the chat. Just going around. Go ahead, Rock.
I eat whatever's called sushi. I don't eat that raw fish stuff. I can have that. The sashimi.
Listen.
Maybe slap a tuna or a salmon on it, but other than that,
Listen. Yeah, man. I thought all of it was raw, to be really honest with you. I thought, you know, and my daughter had to school me. We went on a cruise years ago, and the cruise had a sushi restaurant, and it was a whole theme to it. And I'm going to tell you, man, she was like, no, Dad, you got to go. And so she was trying to sushi educate me. It didn't go well. It just did not go. I tried. Yeah, it is what it is. Good to see everybody pulling up. I see, is it Miss Seven? Good morning. Grand Rising. Melody, great morning. Good to have you in the building. Jill's here. Dr. Pam is here. Hey, Tammy, it's good to see you. Hey, Ashley, what up? Great to have you in the room this morning. It's a Friday, guys. We're going to begin to rebrand our Fridays, and we're calling it Face It Friday. It's about relationships. Some relationships, you just need to face the music. It is what it is. The question is, what we doing about it? That business partner who ain't pulling their weight, what we doing about that? Are we just complaining, or are we strategizing to get them on up out of there, or to trade them? Maybe they're supposed to be somewhere else on the team. Maybe they're not supposed to be doing what they do. You know, it's kind of hard to trade your wife. You know, yeah. I know I went real left on that one, but it's kind of hard to trade some people. Your mama, you just can't really trade your mama like that. I mean, you could, but it might be a little disrespectful. So that's what Face It Friday is going to kind of turn out to be, and we're going to unpack that and just kind of play with it a little bit. Christine is next on the stage, at least according to my PTR. Christine, come on, talk to me. How was your evening, lady?
Good morning. Can you all hear me? Let me start there.
We can, yes. You're a little fuzzy, but I can definitely hear you. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Is it me?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's
your image is a little fuzzy, not your voice.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You have to specify. I don't know why I'm fuzzy this morning. I
It's
did have some
okay.
technical difficulty that I don't know. I'm here. How about that? I'm here. It's Friday. I've had a whirlwind of a week, and yesterday was no different. And so I've been having major meetings for the past probably 5 weeks now regarding this building. So that was there every Thursday evening. So it's they're major intense meetings, but I'm excited about the journey that I'm on. But I had a great evening last night, yesterday afternoon, coach. Speaking of relationships, I went to lunch with my youngest son's girlfriend.
ooh.
Yeah.
Did you
So
see Rocky's eyes? Did you see Rocky? Rocky was like,
yeah, it's one of those where they've met with the pastor, to talk about deepening their relationship and the M word and all of that stuff. So he wanted me to have lunch or dinner with her and,
did you
wanted
say
to.
M word?
Yeah, we're not saying it, but Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, we're
because
not.
I was making sure we're not confusing that with the N word. I was like, wait a
No, no,
minute.
no.
I got you.
M as in
I know.
mini. We're gonna say mini.
I get it. We're not going to articulate it out
Nope,
loud.
nope, no, because I'm not ready for that. And
Forget
neither
that.
are-
Let's get to the sauce. Do you like
and
it,
neither-
Christine?
Dude, Rocky was chafing at the bit.
I do. To be honest, I do. They both have work to do, but I do. She's a good fit for him. Yes. Oh, yes, I do. They got work to do. But we had
Is
a fun relationship.
It was.
A fun
You,
lunch, rather.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but when you say yes, that yes came out slowly.
It did.
And I'm wondering, was the yes because there's so much work to do, or was the slow roll because you're not quite sure yet because you don't know enough about her?
I do know enough about her, and there is work to do.
Now,
Yeah.
here's the question. Sorry, last one. If she was not dating your son, would you like her as a person?
I would actually, yes.
Okay.
I would.
Got it.
I would.
Got
But yeah. There is a lot of work to do, and the family dynamics aren't ideal on her side, and so you both know, you bring that with you, and but she recognizes that, so yeah. But yeah, I know. I feel like I'm not going deep right now.
No, it's
we'll
okay.
do that later.
Yeah, we'll do that later. We just needed to get Rocky
But that's how my
satisfied. Rocky, you
yesterday
feel
went.
better?
That's how my yesterday. But Rocky knows how I am when it comes to relationship. That's why she's asking these questions.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm gonna say go do the work, and then come back later. That's what I'm gonna say. But
Only because Christine has gotten me in my back and forth situation together a few times. So I know kind of where she's going. So
yeah.
So,
I feel bad for the little girl.
But if you're willing to put
Don't
the
feel
work,
bad for her,
if you're
Rocky.
willing to put the work in, and that goes with relationships, period. But it's not one sided. I'm not that type of person. My son got a lot of work to do. Please, oh my gosh, yeah, he got a lot of work to do. Let's be down the audience. He can attest to that. So, yeah, they got work to do. But I do like her. She's a really nice young lady. Great head on her shoulder. She's pre-med. So yeah, she's just don't want her to get off track because you get stars in the eyes and all of that stuff. So yeah. But I had a great evening. That was the long answer.
Listen, I have been known to wreck a woman's direction. They started off getting great grades in school, and then I started come visiting. They're highly focused, scholarships, straight A student. Then I show up. And so I have had these kinds of, so I understand pre-med is good. It's a start. The question is how long are you going to be able to keep it going? And are you guys going, boy, Sheree, what you chafing at?
So first, I want to say, good morning, everybody. Good morning that's listening and viewing us this morning. Welcome to the morning show. Christine, I actually think that that's amazing that you are that type of mother that will have those conversations, because I was 19 when I got married the first time. And I wish someone had sat me down and had those conversations because I was not ready. He was not ready. But nobody was willing to have those conversations. And what I can say is that Christine is very, Christine's not mean. And I think that people sometimes when they hear you're having these conversations that, oh my God, how could you? Oh, but no, Christine is very loving. She's very caring. She's very motherly. So even I can imagine, you're taking her under your wing and helping to guide her. And I think that that's amazing. And also just bringing, to their, because they grown, they're going to do what they want to do when they want to do it. But at least they'll never be able to say, nobody ever told me. So I think that that's amazing. So yeah, and that's what in
Thank you,
relationships we're
Sheree.
supposed to
Yeah.
do. We're supposed to speak
yeah.
truth
Appreciate
and love.
I'm not mean, Rocky.
No,
Listen,
she's
Well, I'm
not
just gonna
me.
say that.
No, you hard headed, Rocky.
No,
No,
I'm
no.
not. No, I'm not.
Rocky not hard headed.
You're not hard headed, Rocky.
Are we talking about the old Rocky or the new Rocky? Because there's a
We
difference.
talking about the Rocky you evolved from.
You evolved
Okay, the one
from.
I evolved from. Yes.
Yeah.
Little.
Yeah. There you go.
But what I was gonna say is no. But if you don't understand Christine, you can take it the wrong way. Because you too, Cherie, both of y'all, because y'all tell it like it is, and if you ain't ready for it, it's gonna be like, oof, like okay, that hurt a little bit.
Help me.
And you can get confused about if it's said out of love or you know what I mean. Like you can get confused. So, I think you should have a lot more dinners with her, and then she'll
A
be
lot more
comfortable.
dinners.
I'm not a yes man. I'm not one of those people that's going to yes you up. I just don't do that. But I don't want y'all to yes me up either. And my husband knows that about me. I need truth. That's how I operate in my life. And if you can't handle the truth, I know that's a movie from somewhere,
Yeah.
somewhere.
You can't handle
If
the
you
truth.
can't, then I don't know, just go away. So that was me. I know it was. That was Frank. But honestly, you have to be quick story. Then quick story, I promise. And so I had a young lady who no longer works for me. She lied to leave, right? So I'll just start with that. She wanted to do something different instead of her saying that she wanted to do something different. She left and whatever, right? But then I got a call asking to be a reference for her. I was like, okay. So the gentleman called me to be a reference for her, and I was I didn't throw her under the bus, but I was completely honest with her. And with him rather. And what I said to him was, I said, if you decide to hire her, let me give you some information that can help grow her in the area where she is with you. And he said, please help me because I do want to hire her, but I want to know how I can help her. So we were both on the same page. I am not that person that's going to throw you under the bus, but my intention is to help you get to your next level. Sometimes people don't want to go to the next level. They like where they are. They like wallowing in their whatever is their ish, right? But if you are willing to grow and develop as a person in relationships in the work environment, personally and business, then yeah, I'm that person. So I'm done, coach.
I'm not. So no, that was it right there. That was it right there. When she said, when you're not willing. So that, Cherie, is why I'm hard headed because I went from not being willing to being willing. So that is the key. If you are not willing, then it will come off as mean and a hard truth. So, okay, now I'm done. And
Right,
Christina's done too.
Right. Well, now you got me started. No, but I do agree. I do agree with you, Rocky, in the point that if you don't know a person that's direct, like me and Christine, it can be perceived in that way. And that's why I try not to, with people that I'm not developing a relationship, like I'm not going to just walk up to some stranger and speak truth to them. But I know in the beginning of the relationship, because even with you in the beginning, we were forming a relationship and it may have come off that way. And that's why I had to double back with you a lot and be like, look, that was in love. I didn't mean, but I did that so that you knew. I wouldn't just put it out there and then just leave it out there. But I think we all need people in our life that are willing to speak truth, especially when it comes to relationship, because there's no manual on how to do this stuff. And the only way you're going to learn is through people that have been through that experience before that can share their insight. Now, every relationship is different. Every person is different, but there are some foundational principles that can be applied across your relationship to be able to help you if you can take them and then you adopt them in a way that helps you to grow. And so, Rocky, I will say this. I am super, super, super proud of your growth and just seeing how much you've matured over these past, I'll say this past year. It's like you are not the same Rocky you were. And that's because you, like you said, you decided to do your work. You decided to focus on you and to become a better version of you. And I'm loving the new Rocky.
Yay. Listen, I'm just saying right now, boy, y'all.
Go ahead.
Let's go. Hey.
I'm gonna grow up to be like Christine and Cherie, and someone's gonna feel the same way.
That's it. That's it. Come on. Head did, nails did. Listen. Great morning, everybody. Let me reset really quickly. It's 6:14, 14 minutes after 6 o'clock. Here in Panama City, Panama, it is 7:14 on the East Coast in the U.S. I'm Glenn P. Brooks Jr., and this is the morning show. Welcome for the ride on Fridays. We kind of hang loose, hang tight, and we're beginning to reshape our Fridays, and we're calling it Face It Fridays, as we will be talking about relationships, the ins, the outs, the ups, the downs, the good, bad, the ugly. And are you facing it, or do you just want to fake it? Let's go.
You never notice. You just do it for yourself.
Hey, let's go. Shree, what you got?
No, my mute button was working. No, just you played that song that made me think. So Rocky, is today the day? The hair did day. So is today the day? Rocky's coming over to the lot.
Today is the day. You know what's interesting? I'm trying to see how much of this I'm going to keep, because right now it is very, very lengthy. It's very long from when you ignore the gray hair. From when I first cut it. So when you lock it, it's shrinkage. And maybe I should ask y'all advice while we're here. Do you mind, Coach? I want Christine size locks and Cherie's size locks. I don't want the locks I had before because they were kind of chunky. Is there a way to control that, or is that based on hair type? And I have a lot this time. Notice this time I'm not shaving my sides. I'm doing my whole head.
It's based on your loctician.
Yeah, and you tell them the size you want when they start it.
Yeah, when they start parting your hair, you need to look at it.
Sounds like to me y'all might be having to join her on a FaceTime, like during the process, because Rocky is like rolling her hair. She was like,
do you trust a loctician? Do you know them?
Yeah, well, okay. So the loctician was my barber, but he has locks. He's done his kids' locks. He does locks. So I've seen them before, and they are very, very good. He's not a loctician. Let me rephrase that. He does locks.
Has he started locks before?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I would look at his work. Yeah,
okay.
But it's when he does the first 3 parts, you'll know.
Is it like the squares are bigger or
See, now she needs information, y'all. That's why I said y'all gonna have to FaceTime.
It's the size of the squares. And the best way to do it, if you can find a picture of locks that are the size that you want, take that and show him that that's the size that you want. And know that when he first starts them, they're not going to be exactly that size. Because like mine were bigger, a little. Well, the parts are small, but the actual lock was thicker at first until it locks. Once it locks, it thins out. And so you don't want him to do the parts too small, because then you'll have little hair strand locks, and those are the ones that'll break off. And so like mine weren't this size, but mine are probably about the size of Christine's now, but they were bigger than this when I first started. But I knew by the part size what they would turn out to be.
Oh, welcome, John. Coach Glenn needed you.
Listen, I was just being quiet because I have nothing to say on a lock conversation at all.
Well, John has sisters, so he understands. He's good.
I mean,
hey, John.
I understand it, but she didn't pose a question to me. She said, Christine and Cherie, I got a question for you. Is it okay, Coach? That means it's code for Coach. You be quiet now.
Coach, you're bold. Like,
you can't speak to this, and you've never locked anything. So.
Right.
And I'm the one still struggling as to how they can unlock a lock. I'm just saying. I didn't know locks could be unlocked. You know what I mean? I kind of thought they were permanent. And I've watched my wife lock and unlock 4 times in our relationship. And it's a whole situation without cutting them off. So yeah, they can be unlocked. John, Grand Rising, great morning, sir. It's good to have you in the building, my bald brother.
Good morning, Grand Rising. All is well. All is well.
Hey,
Yeah,
John.
it goes back to Christine. You
Go ahead.
don't know part. You don't know about the part. I'm in the matrix.
Yeah.
I'm in the matrix.
Yeah.
No, Christine said it, and Cherie. You'll know about the parting of the hair.
I love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
it's the mastery of it. But if you seen his work, Rocky, you should be Gucci. Yours gonna play a little bit differently, and it may have to make some minor adjustments, but you still should be Gucci though.
Listen.
Thank you. And this guy is good. Like as a barber, he was cutting like Tupac faces in the side of people's heads, and he does like the styles and the colors and all that stuff. So he's really, really good. So I'm excited.
So he is not late on the creative.
Sounds like a master barber.
That sounds like that to me.
Yeah. Y'all got to check this guy on Instagram called Crew with a K, Krew Cuts. Oh man, I just watched his jam on Instagram, just seeing how he transform people, how they come in, and he doesn't just transform their look; he's transforming their health. I just saw women that just had stylists, but then there is something to have a hair health educator that knows how to style as well. And so not only do you look good, but your hair is going to be in a healthier place. So I love that part.
I love it. I love it. Sean is in the chat talking about he feels ostracized since Coach John and I are bald. All my bald brothers, put your hand up. Professor Martin, that includes you, sir. You get what I'm saying? Listen, when you get old as Black people, if you're a man, you go bald. And if you're a woman, you lock. What? It's the natural order of things. Great morning, everybody. It's 6:20. I hope everybody is doing well. Can we do a quick roll call? Room is filling up. I see you, Daryl. Mr. Fun is rocking out the profile, showing the creative lock work in his head. Let's go. Welcome, James. Appreciate you and all that you do over at KBCN, bro. I promise you, we could not do what we do the way we do it without you, sir, and the team. Shout out to my KBCN family. Trisha, it's good to see you. I see that your hand is up. We're going to let some folks up a little bit later on in the show, so hopefully you'll stick around. Jill, what it do? Grand Rising, good to see you. Jill, I don't know if you're watching on TV, but I am drinking my watermelon juice, and you guys have to understand that if you ever heard me talk publicly about watermelon, I had a situation years ago when I was in the Army. I hadn't eaten watermelon in probably 30 some years. It just was not a good look. We won't go into it now, but I'm back. What? Let's go. Dr. Pam Fawcett is in the building. Grand Rising, Dr. Pam. Hey, Tammy, what's up? Good to see my sister from another mister. And we got the same father. Y'all go run the math on that. Mr. Fun is in the building again, rocking the locks and the profile pic. I love it. Sean, my bald brother, what it do? Good to see you, my friend. Is it Faye, Sean? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it is great to have you in the building. Ms. Romario, I believe is the last name. Good to have you. Terry, it's good to see you. Great morning. Hope that all is well in your world. Hey, Nona, it's good to see you. Sharon, good to see you. D. Hud is in the building. Kathy is here. Good to see you, sis. Where's that other half of you? You know what I'm saying? They were partners from day one, twins, identical. Best friends immediately, whether you want to be or not. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I've ever met not two twins, because twins means two. I don't know if I've ever met twins that didn't like each other. Does anybody know twins that legit don't get along? They don't like each other. I don't think I know a set. Callie, come on. It's great to see you. Great morning. Appreciate you for pulling up. Lisa's in the building. And last but certainly not least is Samantha. Yep. Ms. Cam is in the building. Grand Rising. It's 6:23, guys. It is a Face It Friday. I'm going to have that put up, Cherie, somewhere, because I can't remember that name. It's just, I want to say fake it sometimes, but we ain't faking nothing. Face It Friday is about relationships, and it's about us telling the truth and figuring out what it is and how are we going to navigate. Good to see everybody. Aha, you changed the name. I love it. Face It Friday. Relationships, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Yes. All right, guys, let's keep going around the room. What's going on in y'all's world this weekend relationally? What's happening? Talk to me. Who's up? Clip it up. Relationally, what's going on this weekend? John, you got it?
Hey, you throwing it to me? I mean, look, I'm always building relationship capital. Right now, I'm in one of the greatest times in my life. At the same time, I'm in one of the most precarious spaces in my life. So I lean into it all. Relational Wednesday, just preparing for my sister, my youngest sister, and my next to oldest sister to rock into town with me starting next week as my nephew embarks on orientation to become a Morehouse man. So we gonna be rocking all next week with the Morehouse flow. AUC love, Atlanta University Center love. I have no problem with that. I'm a Morris Brown graduate right next to Morehouse and Spelman and Clark. So that's what I'm getting ready to do. Got some new furniture, get ready to head to my spot. Getting ready for the crew. So we getting ready.
Hey, man, let me tell you something right now. It is the deep of summer. We coming off these temperatures where it was hot as Hades outside. So, yeah, I'm glad that it's getting, to the place where we can all get out and about. I'm glad your sisters are pulling up, man. That's what's up. I love it. Ain't nothing like when your sisters come and listen. I got 8 of them, okay? So I'm the oldest, and I have 8 sisters. And it's a whole thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, well,
I love it.
We're already navigating. Well, we don't go to sleep when we all together. So and I love it. We already cracking up about cracking up. I don't know if that makes sense. Last night we've been on the phone with every night cracking up about we can't wait to crack up. So
that is hilarious, John. Listen, laughing before ain't nothing funny yet, but y'all laughing. I love it, man. I absolutely love it. Anybody else? What's going on this weekend? How are things going relationally? Come on, Rock.
Oh, I just wanted to announce that I'm relaxing. So this weekend, I'm actually going to hang out with the boo. I bought my wrap, by the way. So it's a laser rose. I'll just say that. You can Google it if you want. And actually helping him in his business. He has to wrap a RV. So it's his first time doing a big project, and he recruited me, and I was like, okay, I'll hold the paper. Like, I'm not doing, it's a lot of work. But I'm relaxing because August 18th is my birthday. So I'm just trying to chill until that time and drink lots of water.
Listen, drink lots of water. Why, Sheree, what's fun? Why?
So you're pre-hydrating before the birthday weekend? We're not going to have last year.
I don't know. No. He's surprising me, so I don't know what I'm doing. So yeah, but I'm gonna pre-hydrate. Y'all don't believe me? Look, I started already.
No, I see. Ain't nothing wrong with the pre-hydration work.
I didn't know that was a thing.
It doesn't work like that. It really doesn't work like that. You can't store up in advance.
When I was talking about it, I was laughing to myself like, okay, it doesn't matter if I wake up dehydrated that day, the day of my birthday. But anyway, it's a thought. It's a mindset. If I'm hydrated, I'm hydrated. Coach, you don't understand.
Listen, I'm telling you right now, I have gone into situations, we're not going to get all in the details. Pre-hydrated, it didn't come out so bad. And then I've gone to situations where I was flat out about dehydrated and it was left. So yeah, I would say try it. Anything is better than last year. Good God Almighty, we do not want to revisit that. Nah, I love it. Come on, Christine. What you got?
So I won't be pre-hydrating, whatever that is. I constantly drink water, alkaline water at that. But taking my youngest actually to a dance workshop with Le Twins. People call them Les Twins, but it's definitely French. But so yeah, that's this evening. And Virginia at a studio. So I'm excited to have her. She's doing her first solo workshop without her siblings and without anyone that she really knows. So I'm excited for her to have that experience. She's been following them and kind of studying their moves. She loves hip hop. That's kind of her wheelhouse, hip hop and tap. So I'm excited to share this experience with her this weekend. And that's what I'll be doing.
I love it. I love it. Keith K.L. Belvin said, by the way, he's met a few twins who didn't get along. I don't know if I've ever met. Yeah, he's met a few of them.
Oh, he might have caught him on a bad day. You know. listen. Let's pop back to teen. Let's talk back to teen song. Let me tell you something. Tap is her. Y'all got it. Well, y'all saw it. Y'all got to get the DVD when it come out and order. By the way, order that. Enough. It's coming out. Go on the website. Click the link. But you got to see her. Like she's a.
Sean just sending people the links.
No, but I'm saying she. When you see her, you're gonna know she's a Psalms. There's no way. You can't miss it because it's Sean all over. Oh my God, with long hair. When you see her, you have no. So while they were editing and doing the final stuff on the DVD, they could hear me talking about, oh my God, go team. Like I'm shooting on center camera and I'm like, this nigga right here is dancing.
Listen.
So
he didn't went all the way there, Rocky. You see that? Like, he is all the way out of pocket. Look at Rocky. Rocky's like, oh my God, John.
No, the funny thing though, because I remember when we met her, when the first time when you guys came to Virginia Beach, I was like, she's so reserved and she's so, but when you see her dance, it's like, that's not the same child. It's like, she's in her element. And it's like, she just comes to life when she's on that stage. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, look at her go. She's so talented. And that's a blessing, Christine, just seeing all of your kids are so talented, all of them in their own areas. But seeing them walk in that is amazing. Just seeing them actually pursuing what it is that they're passionate about.
No, I said the same thing. No, when I was sitting there, I was like, Sean, that's your baby. Like,
right.
She like the passion, the facial expressions, like all of it was there. I love it.
Listen, there's some of y'all going to jail if you try to explain to a judge. I ain't had nothing to do with that. That ain't my child, Your Honor. I mean, really, I wasn't even. Listen, you don't see the spitting image of this one right here? Sir, you're going to jail right now. Just get out of my courtroom. You get what I'm saying? I love it.
Because it's the energy though. It's like, oh my God. Oh my God. And that's what I love about her, because she walks in such this, well, you probably just modeling her mom for it. She walks in this elegance, but boy, the Michael Jackson lights come on, Doc. Oh my God. She light up, boy.
He said the Michael Jackson lights. I can't with this one. Listen. Nurse Anisha says that my twins get along most days. So now I'm not talking about little sibling rivalry. I mean, that's any siblings. I'm talking about the one, they don't talk. They haven't spoken. They're not down with each other. They don't rock with each other. You know how there are siblings, and y'all, let's go here. You have siblings that you do not talk to. For whatever reason, a riff went down, something went down, and space got in between you guys. And y'all kind of went your separate ways, and y'all flat out are from the same parents. Put me in the chat. I'm not going to ask you about what happened. Okay. That's your business. But that's the part I'm talking about. I don't know twins that do that. That's what I'm saying. I don't.
Now, I'll say I'm not a twin, but me and my sister are 11 months apart. So we're super close, and she's a Virgo, and me and her, like, we either, like, when we're away from each other and we're text messaging each other and stuff, we're the closest thing ever. She came down here recently. She's a traveling nurse. She came down here recently. We can't be around each other more than 30 minutes or an hour.
Wow.
We can.
Got it.
It's just terrible. And then I don't know if Virgos do this. Y'all can verify. But like when she gets upset, I won't talk to her for months. She won't talk to me for like 6 or 7 months over one little thing. So it's like, we need counseling. I feel like she got inner hate for me. I don't know what's going on.
I don't think it's a Virgo thing. I'm the polar opposite. I don't hold grudges at all for long. I can't keep a thing going, and we have to figure it out. Like, so I don't know.
No, so Glenn is different. So Glenn is like everybody's Glenn's friend. So he's different. He's like the little kids that go to the park and see strange kids and be like, "Oh, they're my friends." That's Glenn. So he's like that with everybody. So I know for me, like me and my brother, I don't ever remember there being a thing that happened. But there was a season that I just didn't like him. I was like, I don't like you. I don't want to be around you. And that season was years. It was just, I think it was a character thing. It was like, I won't even say we grew apart. It's just, I guess my values changed and what I valued changed. And he just wasn't lining up with that. And so for years, we didn't really talk. We'd see each other at family functions every now and then, but we didn't stay in touch. We didn't, but I mean, as we've gotten older, we've gotten back closer. Actually, when we first moved to Virginia Beach, I went first because Glenn was still working at the school system. And so I went and I was staying with my brother. It was just me and him. And that was like the best time in the world. It was like we went back to like when we were kids. We got to be close again. And so we got to reconnect on that level. And so, but there were years that we didn't talk. I remember when we got married, he didn't even come to our wedding when we got married. But it wasn't like we were mad at each other. It's like I don't like you either. I'm just that. But it wasn't like a thing that happened that there was this beef that happened. So I don't know.
It might have been the fact that it was your third marriage, babe, and he was just tired. I didn't mean that as shade. I'm just saying that with siblings that rock with you, I'm in trouble.
It definitely came off as shade. It definitely came off.
It had a little blackout curtain. It had a little bit.
I didn't mean it to come out like that, babe. That wasn't the intent. I'm sorry.
So my siblings to this day.
John, you in the Matrix?
No, as Professor Martin said, John is the Matrix. He's not in it. He is the Matrix. That's what he said in the chat last time this happened. John, the Matrix shows. You're not coming through, sir. I don't know if you can hear us, but hopefully. Can you, John, can you hear us now? Can you hear us now?
Oh my God, man, that was so good what I said too.
I probably would listen.
Try it again.
Oh my gosh. I can't stand it.
Listen, Sean says, I love my brother, but I don't like him though. I think that's a thing, y'all.
And that's where
Wait a minute, babe. Wait a minute. I gotta mute, babe. You gotta give me signals, babe. You can't do that, boo. We're in the same room. Slow down. Just give me a signal. Say you want to talk. What's the signal look like? Give it to me. What's your signal? But if I'm not looking at you, then what's the signal?
First of all, why is the bear off? What's white?
The bear battery ran down. He ran. I forgot.
That means you need to rest, right, Christine?
I just needed to charge him up last. I forgot. I left him on, and he's like, dude, I'm not a bunny that keeps on. Cherie, come on. I'm sorry.
I forgot what I was going to say now. Oh, no. No, when Sean was saying that about, he loves his brother, but he just doesn't like him. That's the way it was with me and my brother. I love him, but I just didn't particularly like him. I mean, there are certain people that, I don't like. And I'm the type of person, if I don't like you, I'm not going to be around you. I don't do the fake thing. If I don't like you, I'm not gonna hang out with you. I'm not good at being fake. My face shows it all. And so, yeah, that doesn't work for me.
Listen, Sean Song, you are going to stop instigating the chat, sir. That's what you're getting ready to do. You are going to stop instigating in the chats. Talking about Cherie A. Brooks' signal is going to be flipping the bird. I love it. It's a Face It Friday. We're talking all things relationships. Y'all remember the time? Remember the time when you and your siblings got along? Y'all remember the time when y'all used to play and could nobody say nothing bad about your sibling? If so, there was a fight that was going to ensue. Do y'all remember the time where when one would get something, you would get something for the other one? You remember the time where when the cousins came over and they took sides, it was y'all against them? Do y'all remember? Come on. We're talking all things relationships today. The good, the bad, the ugly. It is a Face It Friday. Let's Sheree is chafing at the bit. What you got, babe? Come on, talk to me.
No, I just when you were saying that about, do you remember when as siblings you would if you got something, you'd get something for the other one? I don't ever remember being like that as a sibling. We didn't get stuff, but anyway. But I know the grandkids are like that. And it's funny, as the oldest has gotten older, she's getting out of that now. Now she wants her own. But when they were little, especially I'll say number 1 and number 2. Now I got to number them because there's 3 of them. 1 and 2, they would always, when one got something, I got to get something for Mimi too. And it's like, it's your birthday. I'm taking you shopping. No, I got to get her something too. But now she's gotten older. She was like, oh, no, she ain't. I'll be like, you want to get Mimi something? No. So I think you outgrow that at some point. It's like she's gotten selfish as she's gotten older.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Never.
You said, wait a minute, hold up, John, hold up. I just heard never. What, Rocky? Was there never a time?
Never asked my sister. Every time I ask my sister, and I don't want to call her evil. I love my sister. I would ask her to get me a soda, Coach, and she would pour half Pepsi, half water, so it looked like soda, and then she would give it to me. I would ask her for a banana. She would eat half the banana, put some tissue at the top to make it seem like it was a full banana. And so when I peeled it, the tissue would come out.
Oh my.
I think that might be evil. Rocky. I don't know your sister. And
I'm not gonna say
those actions. No, I'm not saying she's evil, but those actions were a little.
Now I'm not perfect
evil.
either. We done went back and forth, but that's what I'm trying to tell you, the dynamic. Like, and here's another example, like with my kids. Okay,
she did. I just want to know what you did, Rocky.
I mean, I done did some stuff to her, but I feel like I was protecting myself. Like,
so wait.
But I'll give you one more example.
Wait a minute. Wait, real quick, before you give me another example, Rock, real quick. When you did stuff to her, let me ask you a question. If out of 10 times, was it initiated or was it in response to something she did? Give me a number. 8 out of 10 times I initiated that, or 8 out of 10 times I was responding to something she had done to me. You talking about the stuff you did to her.
Maybe I want to say it was a part where I was tormenting and then I calmed down and then she was like, I'm tormenting you back.
That's it.
So I want to say it was 50-50.
Yeah.
But the degree of what she did to me was way worse than what I did to her. Last example of my sister and how she is. And please, if you're a Virgo, I want to break away from the stigma. Okay. So she would come in the house. My sister, I call her a little bougie. She a little bougie. She comes in the house and she asks Nichelle for some water. She's like, Nichelle, can you get some water for me? And she's like 8 years old. Nichelle, can you get some water for me? And she's like, yeah. So she goes in there, gets the glass, gets the water, brings it back. And Candace is like, can you get some ice and put some ice in it? So Nichelle goes back to the refrigerator, puts some ice in the glass, brings it back. Candace is like, did you wash your hands before you put the ice in the glass, before you gave it to me? So Nichelle goes back, dumps everything out, and passes her back the empty glass. She's like, get it yourself. But like, that's how she is. So it was just, oh my God, it was just a lot. It was a lot.
Listen.
I'm thankful for the distance. Let's talk about that, Coach. Are we thankful for the distance?
Look, how many of y'all are thankful that as a grown person, you get to put up boundaries and control the distance? How about that? Put me in the chat on that.
Well, see, I think you have that sibling, get stuff for your sibling. I'm the only boy out of all my sisters, so that may make a difference. It could make a difference, but I find myself always wanting my sisters to be around. So like last year, like anything I'm doing, there have been times where they'll say, yeah, I want to go, but I don't have the money. I'm like, don't worry about that. I want you. I got it. Like, you're coming. And so we've done that. It's just those moments because of the distance that drives you more as
Oh boy, that Matrix situation is bad, John. Oh.
Did you change the audio quality, John? Change the audio quality on Clubhouse.
Change your audio quality to.
No, I'm on a bad street.
What? Well, do me a favor. Your stories are too good for you to be messing with us on bad streets, bro. So I need you to get to a good street and pull over, because I got to hear this story, man. Sean Psalms over there talking about Rashida Griffin. Your sister is Rosemary's Baby. I am through.
Help me.
I am done. I'm done. Sean, you are teetering on the line, sir. I don't know if I've ever put anybody out my room, but today it might be the first day,
I
brother.
was thinking the same thing. Look,
He
so,
is on something
and I
different.
can't even say anything because he's helping me out. So the reason that I'm able to be like in my studio in my house is because he's opening the summer camp for me. We open at 6:30, so he's literally there right now.
That's what it
with
is.
the kids, but he is going in. I'm like, dude, pull back, pull back, pull back.
Pull up, pull over. Put her sister out your room.
I didn't have any sisters. I had two brothers, and I have two brothers, and I fought for both of them. And have I ever fought them? No, I've never fought them, but I've jacked them up very, times, and threatened to kill my youngest one as well.
Oh snap!
And then he told me if I killed him, he would run and tell mom. I'm like, how are you
After
going to do
he's
that?
dead.
Because you're gone.
After you're dead.
You're gone. So I love both my brothers, but they're hard-headed, and I'm just going to say that. One's a pastor, and he's hard-headed. And my youngest one is a big baby. He cries all the time.
As a grown man, Christine.
As a grown man.
So what does the grown man cry look like, Christine? It's not
Man,
real
y'all be
tears,
going,
but
nope.
how
Yes,
does it
is.
look?
Y'all be going
What?
in. Them joints be. But I love my brother, and he knows he's a big baby. He's like, Chris, I'm gonna start crying. I was like, yep, go ahead. Go ahead,
Wow.
start
See, now I feel the shade coming on. John, I feel like the black curtain is coming because y'all know I'm the crying coach. Cherie, don't you stretch your eyes
look at
this
her
way.
eyes,
Look
look
the other way. Because I will cry in a minute getting my feelings.
But I would defend my
I've never had a
brothers
problem crying.
to the end. Yeah, I fought for both of them. Like, I fought dudes for them, and I'll do it again if I had to.
Listen.
See, that's
yeah.
my sister right there, Coach.
See, here comes John.
Christine, that's Terry, because I didn't have brothers. Terry was, I'm going to go get my sticks. Oh, and Terry could fight. Oh, my God. Oh, my God, she fought so good. Oh, my God. Oh, she kicked some good tail, man. She could fight. Oh, man.
Help me.
Yeah, but I have a wonderful relationship with all my sisters. As we've gotten older, it's gotten even better because we got money. And so we can spend that real time together. But my mom left to go into the military as an older parent. I think she went in at the last age you can go, like 30 something at that time. So Terry ended up being my mom for my high school years, and I hated her because she was like my mom. She was fun, and then she would pull out the belt. So I hated that. But as we gotten older, I so appreciate that, and that's the thing. That is the thing. Siblings for me is all my life, and my transition I'm in now. My sisters, I have to hold them from flying down here, Coach. These ladies want to K. These ladies want a KTA. They want to kick that ass bad. But I can't because God gave me another pathway for that, and so they are honoring that. But yeah, man, these my ride or dies, and I love them to life. Then I got new ones. Christine and Cherie. Cherie bought 2 tickets already ready to come here.
Yeah. Like I'd be right there with Terry.
It's interesting because it's like no one is going to me and my sister can fight each other, but no one's gonna touch my sister. Like I was like the little big sister. And that was the thing because my sister, I was more like outgoing and she was more like mousy and quiet. So that was like huge. Like we had trigonometry class because I was so advanced in math. We had trigonometry class together, and my teacher, Dr. Ritzendollar, he's still there. He separated us because we argued in class. Like it was that bad. We were arguing over math. It was crazy. But as soon as somebody said something to her, I'm like, no, the answer is right. Like I would be fussing at the kids with her because I'm like, you ain't gonna talk to my sister any kind of way. But Mr. Ritzenthaler, he was like, but y'all aren't in the same group anymore. I'm like, I don't care. Like, that's my sister. So yeah.
Wow. Here's what's funny, Cherie, just real quick. Ashley Love says it's a great balance, Christine. Listen, and I got to go back to this part. And Ashley also said earlier, she said, if I don't like you, you're not really ever going to be in my space. One of the things that I think that as siblings, we have no choice but to be in each other's spaces for a lot of part of our lives. And that's got to fuel this idea of, I know we're going through that with our granddaughters. It's like, it's clear to us, they don't need to be in the same room anymore because of how they're, but I think that sometimes because of the proximity, you like, listen, I need you out of my space.
Yeah, that's true. I think one thing I wanted to go back to something when we were talking about the whole defending your sibling. I can remember there was an incident. I think it was like my first day in high school or something. Yeah, I think it was high school because my brother, this is the one moment I remember him defending me. I went to Oxon Hill High School for anybody from the Washington, D.C. area. I went to Oxon Hill. And when I went to Oxon Hill, it was predominantly white. And so this little boy decided to call me the N-word. And this was my first time ever having any racial instance happen. And my brother's two grades above me. And so I go crying, I go tell him, I thought my brother was going to kill this boy. I had never seen my brother so enraged. It was bad. It was bad. But the flip side of that, and it's funny when I think about it now, I've always been a truth teller. I've always sided on the side of truth. I remember there was an incident that happened with my brother at one point in time. He did something that was wrong. I disagreed with it and I did not take his side. And he just could not understand. I'm like, dude, you were wrong. I'm not taking your side and you're wrong. And I think when I think back, I think that's really when our separation started happening because I was like, I'm not going to side with you just because you're my brother if you're wrong. If you're wrong, you're wrong. And I've always subsided. And that was even, like I said, as a kid, I've always been like that. And I think that's pretty deep. I didn't really realize that about myself. I just realized that. But yeah, and I've always done that. And that was what I think caused the separation. Like I said, I don't even know if it was necessarily character. It was just like, if he was wrong with something, I wasn't going to side with you. I'm not going to side on the side of wrong. And so that created a separation. So I wasn't that, I guess, ride or die sibling that's just going to be there for you just because you my sibling. If you're wrong, you're wrong. And so I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing.
No, it's
Well, go ahead, Rob.
No, I was gonna say it's interesting, Cherie, because it was the same thing. Like there's certain things my sister keeps saying to me that I'm like maybe that's why. Like she'll say, well, I shielded you from a lot of stuff that you didn't know about. Like, and I will be like, what? Like she protected me, and I guess maybe she's angry about it because she had to hide these things. One example is when I went to Hampton University. I remember that day they were so quick to move me into the dormitory. Like, we got to go now. And I was like, why are they rushing? I found out years later that they actually got evicted from the house. And my sister was the one that was like helping them move everything out the house and making sure I was good in college, stuff like that. And they never told me until she told me later. So I was like, well, maybe that's why she acts the way she does now. But we've never had that conversation because we just don't talk about stuff. So it's interesting when all that stuff comes out.
No, you know what's funny? And I got to thinking about it when Cherie was talking, Rocky. And I want to talk about that for a second. Like where are my truth tellers at? Now, I want to frame it up this way. You know a truth teller when they will tell on themselves. Okay, that's a mark of a real truth teller. They will cop to a plea. Hey, I did it. There are people that their mindset is, if I did it, I'm going to say I did it, and that's just the way it is. And they are truth tellers. And when you have those kinds of people in relationship with you, they will rub you the wrong way in a lot of ways because they don't see necessarily gray. It's black or white. You either did it or you didn't. And even if that means some severe consequences, they'll stand on that and lose the relationship over it. So I want to talk about that for a quick second. Where are all my truth tellers, and particularly in the confines, and we're going to stay here with the siblings thing, because now that's where the snitch come out. See, you snitching. See, you just, that, and it leads to, but are they snitching? Like, so let's kind of talk about that. I'm gonna go around grabbing this.
Go ahead, John.
So I think where Cherie and I anchor in is I'm that person. And my older sister, who had a 6 years,
John, you're drowning. We can't hear you.
We was trying, brother. We was trying. Try to come back in a minute. Christine, truth telling.
Well, I think I've already said it. I give truth. Yeah. But I tell myself the truth too. I'm not one of those that I'm faking it. I'm acting like I got it all together. No, I messed up. I messed up real bad, and I will own it. It hurts, but I own it. And I do the same thing with my siblings. It's probably why sometimes my oldest brother doesn't like me, because I tell him truth. When my mom was alive and he had moved away and he wouldn't contact her, it hurt her. And so I told him about himself. And I was like, look, dude, you only got one. You need to call her. I'm busy. Really? Was she busy when she was carrying you? Was she busy when she was feeding you? Was she busy when she took you in? When something, when you got put out of your place? So yeah, I give truth, but I also expect people to give me truth. Don't just, here's the thing. Don't give me what I call convenient truth because you're trying to jab me or stick it to me, or trying to give me truth because you want to help me. Is the difference between tattletelling and telling when someone did something, right? That whole tattletelling thing is you're trying to get somebody in trouble. But if you're giving me truth because you're trying to keep me out of harm's way, or you're trying to help me avoid something in my life or help me make a better decision, then yes, give me truth. But you should also expect it and be able to receive it. Now, we talked about this earlier. There is a way to give the truth in love and, and not hurting people. But yeah, be honest with each other. And my brothers, they know that I'm an honest person. In fact, most people that are in my circle, that are in my life, know that I'm a very honest person. I don't have any airs or facades about me, because that's not the way I move, because they don't last long enough to hold on to them. That's why I don't use them. But everybody can't handle it. Everybody doesn't understand what truth. They would rather you give them truth with a little bit of lie, with a little bit of sugar, with a little bit of, to make it feel good, sound good, to make it palatable. I'm not that person. We're going to take the cod liver oil, we're going to wash it down with some orange juice, and we're going to keep it moving. I'll yield.
And maybe that was it. Maybe my sister was the truth teller. And I was like, wow, like you are coming at me really hard.
Listen. And that's a lot of times, y'all, the way we perceive truth. And I realized I grew up as a kid who couldn't speak truth. As a people pleaser, I couldn't speak truth to me. I wasn't self-aware enough to say, no, you did that. You need to own your ish, man up, and own it. It's not about blame. You did that. And I used to envy people who could do that, because to me, they seem fearless. Truth tellers to this day, for me, I perceive them as fearless people.
Coach, you gotta go
Because-
to the chat just when you finish.
Yeah, I'm seeing it. I'm definitely gonna, Stormy, if that's how you pronounce your name, just hang tight. We coming. Y'all, I'm telling you, I think that this is a real thing. And I know for me, again, that's why I pose that question that way. A lot of people walk away giving truth tellers get bad raps because they want to bring something actually beneficial to the table. Because if you receive it, you'll change. Like if I tell you something about you that's not productive or it's not working for our relationship and you receive it, you know what the result of that is change. You actually evolve. I go through this as a relationship coach. You know, we go through this all the time when we're talking to couples who are married. The challenge is that his ego can't handle being confronted. My ego could not handle being confronted with flat out truth. And I'm going to want to gaslight the situation by saying, no, it was the way you said it. Bruh, no. What about the way you're choosing to receive it? Have you thought about that? Because if you're not used to receiving truth, it almost always is abrasive. Almost always. Shereen?
Yeah, and I just want to address, some of the comments in the chat. One thing, and Martin brought it up, and Stormy continued this conversation, just talking about toxic family members. And I think that we have to recognize that. And I agree, yes, your family is your family. You only get one family. But if they are toxic, if you have a toxic family member, if you're in a toxic situation, you owe it to yourself to separate yourself, to be able to put out boundaries. And I think oftentimes we will allow family guilt, will allow that whole, blood is thicker than water, this, that, and the other, to cause you to stay in a toxic situation, stay in a toxic environment. I know for me, with my parents, my father is a recovered alcoholic, but growing up, even as a young adult, it was extremely toxic for me because of his alcoholism. And I had to separate myself from that at a certain point in time. And I came across, I was the black sheep of the family. I was this, that, and the other, but I realized it wasn't healthy for me to stay in that environment, to stay around that. And I had to separate myself for years. I could not go, and as much as I love my parents, I love my mother, and my mother and I have a great relationship today, but there was a period of time I couldn't even talk to her because I couldn't be around my dad. And I'm grateful that, over time, over the years, as he's gotten older, he's gotten some of his healing and we've been able to reestablish a relationship. But I had to remove myself because it was toxic. And I think we have to be willing to step away sometimes, even from family, when it's unhealthy. And that can be hard. It's a hard decision a lot of times, but sometimes we have to sever that umbilical cord. You have to be willing to cut those ties for your own health, for your own sanity.
No,
Well, it's getting good. Come on, Rock.
No, that's good. I experienced that, Cherie, because my father, I have 6 sisters and 1 brother, if y'all didn't know. My sister that I talk about, that's 11 months, that's my sister, like me, my mom, and my dad. So I have half sisters and brothers. And of course, with social media, I found out about these sisters and huge family. Like they live in Richmond, like right down the road. And I have an older sister. She has 7 kids. They have 28 grandkids. So I'm a great aunt for all these kids and stuff. So we reached out, me and my sister reached out, and we got the nastiest reproach. Like, oh, you're his daughter and this, that, and the third. And like, they were the nastiest people to us. And I, pretty much had to tell them, like, the father you experienced was not my father. Like, he's not perfect, but I don't know what you guys experienced. It has nothing to do with us trying to build a relationship. But I had to cut them off. As much as I love them and want to get to know them, that's not healthy for me, especially when I'm trying to get to know everyone and you have this narrative that you're carrying about me that nobody knows me about. So it can be very damaging.
Yeah, I just think that, and this is one of the things, so that you guys are clear, we are re-engineering our Friday segments. We normally have a no agenda only vibe, kind of a day on Fridays where we play music and we do the different things. But one of the things that Cherie kind of brought to my attention, she and I are allowing our full selves to come to the stage if we don't lean in and talk about relationships. For the last, it'll be 7 years in January, we've run a relationship academy online, and it's called the MAPS, Marriages and Parenting Successfully Relationship Academy. And we've helped well over 400 families get their life right in these last 7 years. At any given time, there are 40 to 50 people, families in this community. And it's a closed community. It's a community that these people invest in themselves. They pay a subscription to be a part of it. And we don't accept everybody because there's a culture there of doing work. And here's the challenge, I think. And, you know, between the two of us, we've written 9 books, Sheree and I. And many of those books surround personal development type stuff as we've gone through it. I had a conversation yesterday with an old friend. He's a pastor of a huge church in Maryland. And he is just still blown away that my ex-wife and her husband came here to Panama with us in January. And we spent 10 days together exploring whether or not this would be a good move for us. They were with us as we looked at property and all of the kinds of things. They'll be here in 2 weeks and they'll stay in our place. And we're great friends. And we wrote a whole book about it, Sheree and I. But we don't talk about this stuff nearly as much as we should. So on Fridays, we're going to dedicate Fridays. It's called Face It Fridays, but it's designed to highlight relationships, the good, the bad, the ugly. I don't know everything. I will never talk out of school. I'm not going to talk on things I don't know about. I promise you this. But I do want to create a space where that conversation can be held. And I do think that there's some fundamental things that are pretty consistent throughout a lot of relationships. And my hope is that we would bring it to the stage and really be able to speak, because at the end of the day, let me tell you, my goal is that we would grow. That's my goal. My goal is that where do we grow from here, right? It is what it is. Face It Fridays. The relationship is what it is, but where do we grow from here? And sometimes growth means separate. Sometimes growth means lean in. Sometimes growth means having a tough conversation. Sometimes you get what I'm saying? And it's defined differently depending on the relationship, but we want to save space for that. And I feel like we owe it to this community to be our authentic selves and really talk about that publicly a lot. And we're going to dedicate an entire day to do it. Sheree, you got something you want to add before we introduce folks on the stage?
No, I just want to let you know that brought some people up on stage. Just want to get their perspective on what the conversation we've been having. Wanted to welcome TM to stage, Dr. Tavis and Stormy. And if we can, if you guys have anything you want to add to this conversation, please clip it up and we'll let you speak.
Let's get it. TM, oh, Dr. Tavis, clipping it up first. Come on, talk to us, Dr. T. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, let's go this way.
Dr. T. I just wanted to speak. Dr. T.
Okay, okay, yeah, no worries, man. I'm glad y'all up here. I really am. Come on, Dr. Tavis.
Good morning, Glenn and Sheree. Thank you so much for bringing me on the stage. You know, this topic, when I was scrolling, is really blessing me on today. I taught about it with some of my students on last night. And the thing about it is the toxicity of family. I'm from the South and your family is always right. And I was having a conversation. My dad is deceased 2 years now. And I was having a conversation with my mom. And because she's old school, Glenn, we literally made it through that conversation without hanging up. When I said, Mom, I'm at an age, and we're talking about one of my siblings. And I said, I'm at an age where you don't get to mistreat me. And I have to take up for myself. And it was so liberating and so powerful. Number one, she didn't know my versions of the story simply because I don't share. But it was so liberating because if we don't take up for ourselves when it comes to toxic family members, who's going to do it for us? I'm like you, Sheree. I'm the not really the black sheep, but I'm the one that speaks up for the things that just aren't right in a respectful manner. When you're dealing with toxic people, number one, and I just want to leave this particular tip with you, if we don't watch it, they will gaslight you because of their behaviors, and they'll make you think it's you when in fact it's definitely not you. So I want to commend everybody that's taken up for themselves in this season, especially post-pandemic. Too much has happened for us to walk around with our head in the sands with toxic family members, walking around bruised and hurt for the sake of what's called family. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak.
Absolutely. I can't agree more. And I think that, and I just want to add something, and this is not something that's taught culturally, but I don't think any age is an age where you get to manipulate and treat me any old kind of way. Here's the problem. we've never been taught to articulate how we feel in real time at an appropriate age so that now we can be advocates for ourselves. And one of the things we teach our parents in our MAPS Relationship Academy is how to teach your children to communicate and advocate for themselves so that at 8 years old, they have the ability. That's a skill set, guys, to articulate, listen, this is how I'm feeling. This is what I feel that has been said, and this is what I don't agree with, and be able to do that respectfully to a parent. See, because where we came from, Dr. T, that's going to get your teeth knocked out. You get what I'm saying? Like literally, like I've watched kids get knocked out by their parents because they came out their mouth wrong. And what the parent perceived as wrong was simply truth. And I've had to sit there with unpleasant truths that I taught my children how to speak to me. Well, one's 30 and the other's 38. And they do a pretty good job of challenging people when things don't go well, and they don't have any kind of intimidation going on. They're really, really courageous adults because we taught them how to communicate starting with us. And I'm telling you right now, I just think that that's something that's not valued. And quite honestly, we are seeing the outcroppings of that, and it don't look good. And don't look good in a lot of ways. TM, you were clipping it up, right? I mean, Christine, you want to go to you, and then we'll go to TM.
As we move through the room, I just wanted to make sure we define what toxic is, something that Trey put in the chat. That is a word that's been thrown around a lot in the last few years, but maybe TM can speak to it as he talks. Just kind of unwrap what toxic is, because people have a different understanding. We want to make sure we're on the same page.
I love it. Do me a favor real quick, because I didn't see the chat. Read what, do we have what Trey said? He's not on stage. Let's kind of wrap our mind around.
He asks, define toxic, because too many people using the word too loosely. So I just want to make sure we're not just throwing it around because we get mad at somebody.
Yeah, I actually
Come on,
agree
Tim.
with him. I agree with him. Before I speak, I just want to toss it back to Dr. Tavis to just expound on toxicity.
Thank you. Is it okay, Glenn? I'm sorry.
No, listen, TM, you read my mind, brother. Flesh and blood didn't reveal that to you, because I was literally getting ready to pass it right back to her. Come on, Dr. T.
Well, I think one of the things that, when we think about toxicity, because it is used so loosely, I want to give some examples. I'm an example person, Glenn. And so if I can give some examples of what it looks like, it'll help you understand it. One of the things that people who are toxic do, they make you guilt trip. They guilt trip you so that they can get what they want. And then you're around people who, I saw your little post, I saw you got a new little car. They even try to gaslight your, and make small your big wins that are to you. They try to manipulate you and push your buttons. They want you to do things their way. They make you feel emotionally drained when you leave them because they're so negative. When people are toxic, they always take more than they give. They take more than they offer. And the last thing I want to tell you is they bully you. There are people, if you don't watch it, there are adult people who are bullying people into doing what they want them to do. And then they can be abusive physically, verbally, emotionally. They outtalk you, they overtalk you, and they don't respect your boundaries. These are toxic relationships, and these are things that are chronically toxic and that are happening in families every single day. I hope these examples helped, because for me, when I think about people being toxic, and when I think about the way people do things, for me, is those examples that work. I mean, there's a clinical definition for it and everything, but the examples of how people are making you feel and how they're pulling away from you, that's not healthy. It's unhealthy. When those things happen, TM, your blood pressure changes. It affects your diabetes. It affects your central nervous system. It affects your brain. It goes into your amygdala, your fight or flight. It has you on the defensive. Right? It has you feeling like, okay, when I go around this person, have you ever gone around somebody and said, I've got to prepare myself for them, because if they say one thing to me, this is what I'm going to
mind.
Come on, up in here.
say. I'm sorry. That's toxic though. So that's what you have to watch out for. I mean, I can look up the clinical definition of it, but those are toxic people, and you have to watch it. Your health will fail if you don't watch it. I hope that helps, TM.
Listen.
No, that
TM,
was
take
spot
it from
on.
there.
Listen, it was spot on. See, listen, I've shared enough stages with Dr. Tavis and Rocky and Martin to know, like, listen, you got to let, the experts in their lanes speak first, right? Listen, I was going to simply say, for me, toxicity is negativity and manipulation, right? But that was too straight to the point. I needed the doctor to expound on it a little bit. Right, negativity and manipulation, that's toxicity, like straight point, period. But it has become a buzzword, right? This conversation around relationships, I'm the oldest of 6, right? So I became a leader before I even knew it. I didn't even sign up for the leadership, right? I was just kind of pushed into it. And, I heard someone recently talk, a man who has 9 kids. I recently heard him talk about the nature in which he raises his kids, right? Specifically, to have 9 kids in 2023 is pretty wild. But to have 9 kids by the same woman in 2023 is even wilder, right? And he talked about the family dynamics amongst his kids and how he spends time with each of the kids individually, or he works with the kids in clusters, right? So that everyone is able to really understand their place in relationships. I think for me, man, being the oldest of 6, the one thing that I took on early was responsibility. But it was something that I learned early, and it was like not to really embrace and be able to recognize negativity, right? Be a leader, not a follower. That was, I think, the feedback I got from my parents in general. They needed me to look out, right? So I think just like how Cherie was a fighter, right? I was probably the fighter for all of my siblings, right? I remember a time where these 2 dudes had jumped my brother. Right back in the day, we called it double bank. Right, they double banked my brother. Right.
Oh, I ain't heard that one in years.
Listen,
TM.
It's embedded in my mind because listen, my grandmother says, Terrence, they got your brother. Go out there. I'm like, oh, ish. What I'm supposed to do? Right? What I'm supposed to do? But she said it again. And the next thing I knew, I was racing out the door, right, down to the ice cream truck where these dudes was beating up my brother. And I remember yoking one by the collar, right? It had my foot on the other one's neck, right? And because when somebody's you can fight with your siblings, but nobody else can fight with them. You can hate your siblings, right? But nobody else can hate them, just like Rocky said, right? And so when I hear about, this conversation, for me, negativity, right? I've never been someone who really embraced negativity. I've had to look out and be the light, right? I was raised in a very spiritual family, religious family. My grandfather, to me, was like a real life Jesus Christ. He did a lot in our community, right? I mean, he lent people money, brought people groceries. He had 9 kids himself, but he took care of other people's kids, right? He was a religious man. And, for me, man, I kind of walked in that spirit, and I have a lot of him in me still today. And so, when I sit and hear about, siblings who are estranged, that breaks my heart, bro, because you only get one opportunity, right?
Facts.
To be a good anything in a relationship, bro. And so I loved hearing Sherry and her brother go back and forth this morning. Like, love this topic. Back to you.
All facts. Let me reset really quickly, guys. It's 17 minutes after the hour. I'm Glenn P. Brooks Jr. We're broadcasting live from Panama City, Panama, of which Cherie and I just relocated from the U.S. about a month ago. And it is currently 8:17 on the East Coast in the U.S. This is real. I done got twisted. What's the name of it? It's the morning show, Real Lessons in Life and Business. And Monday through Thursday, we generally talk more business. On Fridays, we're going to keep it in the lane of personal development, relationships. And we're rebranding Fridays simply as Fact Did we say fact? Face it Friday, sitting here right in front of you. Just read the text, brother. Just read the text. So yeah, real quick, let's keep going around the room. We got a couple people on stage. Let's go to, and I'm gonna just go in order, Sean, if I can. Let's go Stormy and then Martin and then Sean. A couple of things, takeaways, maybe something you wanted to add to the conversation.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and definitely something to follow and join this house. Wasn't expecting to be passively listening to a room this morning that would be so on point for my day. I'm literally switching between this room and my sister I grew up with, who just got home from a god-awful wedding that she didn't even want to go to, and as she was boarding the plane to go there, I got the news that we have two older sisters, that I was raised the oldest, so I was really resonating with the feeling like the leader, by default. And some of the skills I literally used the term this week, like I feel like I'm the black sheep of the family turned rock. I ran away, they all left me. Good for everybody, because I was the toxic person, right? Like, I've learned that toxic doesn't mean a life sentence either. Sometimes it just means you haven't gone through life enough to really grow up yet, maybe. But these days, the last couple years, I've intentionally been going out and trying to repair those relationships and then evaluating them to see if they really fit for both of us. But I can't really speak for the other person. I've learned. I don't know everything I've learned. But I can ask questions and check my assumptions and let them answer for themselves and really realistically form my decisions today. Does this relationship support us? It's great that it's back, but does it support us? Because sometimes for me, the reason I was so toxic, I learned, was because I was undiagnosed mentally ill. And really severely, actually, like in and out of institutions in my adulthood, trying to figure it out myself for months at a time sometimes. So respect to them now for taking care of them. I've learned that people that move away from toxic people are actually just taking care of themselves. They're not hateful. They're just doing what they know to do in the moment. And I think I thought it was a great question in the chat, define toxic, because it looks like all different things for me. But the other part I wanted to chip in on was when Rocky was saying that she was told, that they were protecting her from something she didn't even know about. And that resonated in that moment as well. I think that's when I hit my hand raised. Because that was me, like being a leader. My sister growing up, it was just two of us, 18 months apart. I'm the oldest. And gosh, she used to gang up. She was the pretty kid girl with the boyfriends. And I was always a tomboy and didn't really even understand anything about that. It was kind of for protection. And it was just, I'll just sum it up as we had a bad childhood. Like the stuff they make movies of while I was in institutions. But being the rock for her found the leader in me, because for some reason, somehow, I didn't understand it yet, I was always able to put all that shit for myself on the side, because if she was in trouble, like, I'll deal with that later. She needs my help now. And I just wanted to highlight that sometimes in all these relationships and toxicity and everything, yeah, they're not fun to go through, but like any storm in life, and I'm gone from atheist to true believer, so I've been through a lot of storms to get there. I was stubborn. But through any storm in life, what I've learned is the bad times have actually grown me to be the person I am today, that I would not trade for the world. Even though there were many times I literally attempted to take my life because I didn't feel that way about myself yet. I always want to highlight that when I share these days, because I feel like there's always maybe somebody out there that might be struggling and can't say or raise a hand, not on the stage here, but like just in life generally. And sometimes it's toxic relationships that kind of push, for me, that's what pushes me there. Anybody who knows me, I'm mad successful in my business. I'm really successful because I've spent the last few years completely isolated alone. Like, I'm so sensory, I don't even want to hear the AC sometimes, or the crickets, so that I can think. And I've learned that sometimes toxicity is just a fallout of not having learned the skills or learning what you personally need versus somebody else said in the chat the word, I think it was like revamping or relearning or unlearning, right? Those kind of, for me, I learned that you're supposed to, you're born, you go to school, you get a great job, you go to college, build your career, meet your partner, build a house, have kids, make sure you get the white picket fence and the dog, and you're a success. And then your parents will be proud of you. For me, I was supposed to be a doctor or a lawyer, all that unlearning. That's not really toxic. That was my parents' wishes for me to be successful and maybe not have to have them take care of me at some point in my life. But the truth is that not doing that the right way, I've learned none of that actually works for me. So I think as this all ties into the title, relationships has been the number one reason why I was not successful for a very long time until I went to, Glenn, I know you said you have a class. I'd be interested in information on it. Currently going through I'm engaged right now, and I'm refusing to move forward with the wedding until I feel like the marriage will be successful. And we're on very different pages, and it's very toxic. And we're currently separated a few days just to take some breathing space because we're both now toxic for each other. We've both been around trying to do the same thing, banging our heads. And even though I know better, when my emotions kick up, logic goes out the window.
Stormy, it's funny that you say it that way and you characterize that, but that's human. When you get emotional, for logic to go out the window. Training teaches you how to keep logic in the equation. And I think that unfortunately, most people have not learned that, this stuff isn't automatic. You just don't automatically become better at communicating. You don't, and you're extremely articulate. You're extremely learned. You sound like you got a great handle and a grip on at least from a self-aware standpoint of where you are, and then maybe even self-management, how you need to navigate through. One thing I want to submit to the entire room, because we're talking about toxic and that sort of stuff, a great book, if you've never read it, called Safe People. I don't get paid anything from telling you to go read that, but it's from two authors that I have a tremendous amount of respect for over the years, and they've authored a series on boundaries as well. Dr. Henry Cloud and John Townsend. Go Google it, and it's on Amazon. You can get it as a New York bestseller. I teach and train from books like these in our communities, but that's just a way for you to go and educate and wrap your mind around how to walk out of this stuff. Because I'm gonna promise you this: whether it's me, Stormy, Dr. Tavis, TM, John, Cherie, Christine, Rocky, Sean, Marty, like, it does not matter who you are, where you came from, how much money you got, or where you going. You're human. At the end of the day, that is the common goal, common denominator. And God created us and fashioned us to respond to things in certain ways. And when it ain't done right, it goes left real bad, real fast. And unfortunately, people pay that price for a very long time. Cherie?
Yeah, I just wanted to jump in real quick. First, Stormy, I just want to thank you for coming on stage and for sharing and being so transparent and sharing your story. What you don't know is that you're my sister. A lot of your story is very similar to mine, and so I definitely can relate. I've put the link at the top of the room for anybody that's interested in scheduling a discovery session with us to learn more about the MAPS Relationship Academy, so that we can see if we're fit for you and if we can help you in your relationship journey. So Stormy, I want to encourage you to click that link, go ahead and schedule a session with us so that we can get with you and see how we can help you. I also want to commend you on the fact that you are taking that pause in your relationship while you guys are engaged, because you're seeing some flags and are willing to try to work through that before you say I do. Oftentimes people don't do that. They come to us after they've said I do and they've seen those things, and then we're doing repair work after they say I do. So it's always better if you can to, address those issues on the front end. So I want to commend you on that, and look forward to seeing you in a session so that we can see how we can assist you along your journey.
Yeah.
Rocky, you clipping it up?
Yes, I love my Storm. Hi, Storm. So I just wanted to, because I know a lot of people are following me over here from my communities, and I just want to let you guys know, like, this is my family. So this club is where I started on Clubhouse, and I've gone through great challenges and overcome them. So you're in good hands, and I 1000% suggest you join any program that they have. I endorse it because, I don't endorse people, but I endorse it. They're my family. They care for me before, after, and during anything that I've signed up with. So you're in good hands. So I just wanted to put that out there.
And we didn't pay her to say it. Oh, no, for real. The check is in the mail, no, for real. No, I love it. I love it. We're coming up on time, guys, but we'll go over just a little bit. Definitely want to hear from Martin and Sean. Come on, talk to me, Martin. What you got, buddy?
Hey, y'all. This is a very DMV-centered conversation. It's really funny because the brother I'm going to bring up and his book that I put in the chat is from DMV. And he's definitely covered toxicity in his own family and his own relationship and how it shows up. And I think for me, the concept of toxicity, for me personally, is tied to religion, and it's tied to a lot of the truth, quote unquote, that I grew up with and a lot of people around me grew up with, was based on you're going to die and go to hell, or you're going to go to heaven. Or you're going to be part of the anointed 144,000. And that truth, I'm 52. So for my generation, my brother's generation, the one that we avoid, he is wrapped up in the religious truth that it's either this way or that way. And I've come to, accept friends and family that are not religious, that are atheists, that are, whatever their walk in life, that's their walk in life. It's not for me to judge, it's not for me to hold it for or against them. And I get everybody's walk is differently. What I would say, it feels like growing up, I thought that religion keeping family apart was a white thing. I didn't realize that in the Black community we had that, and I was going to face that myself. And it's one of those things that I think we very rarely talk about, because don't talk about politics, don't talk about religion, but we got to talk about having the ability to love each other regardless of our faith. And I think that's something that, particularly in a family unit, that's something that passed. Both my parents have passed on. So there's 3 of us left, and it's like 2 of us have a relationship, and the other, we avoid our brother because he wants to Bible us to death. Unless if we did everything he asked us, it would still be another scripture to tell us that we're not doing right and we need Jesus, or we need X, Y, and Z. And it's like the scripture that says you have the you going after your brother's straw in their eye, but you have the rafter in your own eye. And we're not those type of people that would point that out to him. We just do everything we can to avoid him. So, but this book that I put in the chat is from Jenks Morton. He's a DC filmmaker. He lives in Atlanta now. But Jenks wrote this really great book about motherhood, fatherhood, and him being a son. And it mirrors my relationship with my mother, who raised me to hate my father, even though he was in the house. And we never realized that until Jenks wrote the book. And I was like, man, that's the same thing you went through. And he's like, yeah. And then there's a bunch of us that we started realizing that, the relationship that we were in as far as a son, we were being trained to not look at our fathers who were in the house. This is not a person who was deadbeat or, not around, because our mother wasn't happy. Our mothers weren't happy in the relationship. And so that, to me, the toxicity that we kind of embrace or comes on us from that first relationship, usually in that family unit. And I think that's, to me, the epitome of toxicity, when somebody else puts on the child their issue with their partner, mate, or whoever it is, that it begins that toxic journey.
So good. Listen, Martin, first of all, Jenks, I've never met him face to face, but he mentored me from afar. And we've had conversations on the telephone. And when I wrote my first book, How to Raise a Man, Not a Mama's Boy, he encouraged me on what I may face putting that book out and putting out those kinds of truths.
I know he told you.
And I'm going to tell you something right now. I appreciated the brother's tutelage, because what it did was it helped me to shape my message in that book. And ironically enough, I got a text, or actually someone posted in our MAPS Relationship Academy, a young lady that I currently coach in that community. I also coach her in our business community, is at a conference in Richmond just the other day. And some stranger stood up and answered a question that someone was asking, and she quoted me. The stranger quoted me from a book that I wrote in 2011. And my client is sitting there saying, wait a minute, that's my coach. And so she goes over to the lady and she says, Glenn P. Brooks Jr., that's my coach. She was like, oh my God, I'm just telling you that. And she goes on and on and on. And then my client, she posts this, and I was just getting out of the pool when I got it. I had to do a video right away just to say thank you. And I'm saying this to say this, y'all. And as we begin to wrap up, and I know Dr. Rao just came up. Y'all do me a favor, close down the raise hand feature. I just want to make sure that we honor these folks, and I don't want to run too late. But this is what I need y'all to understand. It is important for you to put things out in the public realm for people to grapple with, because it's liberating. When you speak a truth that resonates with someone, it'll liberate them. The problem is that most of us are not talking, we're not speaking up, we're not speaking to, and it's a bunch of reasons why that's the case. But I just really want to encourage you that if you are struggling and going through some things, get with people who've gone through that, mastered it, and can give back. Get with the professionals who can speak to some of the things that you're going through and you need to navigate, because quite frankly, whatever else you're doing ain't working. Because here's what I will submit. You don't have to stay in that condition. You don't have to stay in that type of toxic behaviors and things like that that happen in your world. So I just want to encourage you. Martin, thank you so much for that truth. Sean, come on through, and then we'll end with Dr. Rao. Come on through, my brother.
Wow, how magnificent is this room on a Friday, about to walk into our weekend with success. Guys, first, I just want to say this. I'm going to do like Busta Rhymes. I'm going to go real fast. Dr. Taylor, you literally took your time with that thing. And I mean, how Tim just said it, let the professionals go first, and I can add whatever I can add to it and put a little salt on that thing. It was so beautiful how you broke that thing down, Dr. Taylor. Tim, you were so concentratedly concise, my brother. I mean, that's the way I like it. You really put that thing in there. Lady Stormy, thank you for your transparency. I can't tell you how much transparency reveals, and it releases a lot of people. So I just want to bless you. Like my wife and I, we say, church people say on today. Brother Martin, man, you gave a Jerry Springer moment, bro. Man, you took that thing all the way there. So, all right, without further ado, I'm a sharer, and I'm just going to offer a compounding to the illumination of toxicity. And I do like Dr. Taylor said, I like to use examples. Sorry, Dr. Tavis. Like Dr. Tavis says, I want to use examples to make you see. So when I think about toxic, I think about radiation. And if you're in that type of atmosphere, what is it going to do? It's a poison. What also it's a septic germ that's going to take hold of you. It's very lethal. It's very harmful. It erodes. It actually infects, and it actually is putrid. On top of that, it's slimy. You think about toxic radiation. It's sticky. It holds. It really carries itself. It's vile. And in America, again, we have so often that we give these I think Tim said it, these buzzwords, and we just take them as cliche and we go on with it. But when they say the cliche, you expound it all the way out, just the way everyone did, so you know what to keep yourself from. Lady Stormy, just even with your transparency, noticing it, I applaud you, my dear, in you as well as your fiance, and wanting to fix it. So I pray success upon us all. Thank you, Coach Glenn. Thank you, Coach Cherie. Thank you for everybody being here to even say this, so we know how to go out into the world and carry ourselves accordingly. Thanks for allowing me to share.
My pleasure, my friend. Always a pleasure to have you up. Sean Psalms, if you didn't know, is absolutely a wordsmith. And he going to deduct, he going to deduct, he going to break it down. And if you leave this room not understanding, that's your fault. That is your fault. You ain't figured it out, because the boy is going to break it down for you. Dr. Rao, you're back up today. It's good to have you in the room, my friend. Anything you want to add on the subject?
Yeah, a lot, but I will be brief, just not to bore you. But the question is, this limitation of our human reaction to toxicity anywhere, even among our family with the siblings, is taken as though it is something that could happen and we could live with it. But then what we miss is what this toxicity is doing to our inner self, right? Example is, two sisters were fighting all their life, and they went into 80s, and one of the sisters is dying, but they haven't not talked for decades, right? And the other sister comes to see this dying sister, and then she says, because you are dying, I come to see you. But if you are not dying, you are just to have a pretense, then we are the same like before. So she was nurturing that toxicity in her interior, in her inner self. Is that really needed, or do we accept the limitation as normal, or is there a possibility to overcome that limitation? And then the family is all, like I'm in this community, I kind of, because I want to understand what you're talking about, I want to contribute if I could. But you are all the same as the other club, Rocky's club or Crystal's club or all. So I don't have that separation. I belong only to this family or to my particular family in India, all that. See, I was born as the seventh child, so I was very much loved by my mother, but she was very heartful. She was the same with other people, but they did not grasp that she is so giving and her love absorbed from her, and they took it for granted. And they never understood what is that unconditional love which we are capable of. An example is Nelson Mandela. When he was in the prison, he underwent that self-mastery within himself so that millions are not killed. Example was, after he becomes president, he was having a lunch at some place, and he was having lunch, and then he saw a man distant, and he tells the guards, go and get that man. So they go and said, the president is calling, you come. And that man is shivering. But he comes, and then Nelson Mandela offers him lunch and lets him sit by his side. And then the man finishes his food shaking. And then after finishing the food, he kind of rushes off from there. So the guards are puzzled. Then they ask, sir, why is he doing like that? Then Nelson Mandela tells him, he is my prison guard. In the prison, he abused me. One time he came back when I was sitting down and eating lunch. He came back behind me and urinated on me. But the thing is, how we are reacting. It could be sibling, it could be anybody else. The toxicity may be there. Are we going on separating ourselves from everybody in our own minds and thereby living with what is separativeness, not the union? See, I come from the spirituality where the whole world is one family. And because we have this separativeness in our hearts, there is so much gender-based, race-based, country-based, so much of separation in the world. And that is causing this mini wars from the siblings to all the way to the countries. So Eckhart Tolle was one time pointed out, because we consider we are the ego, not that self behind the ego, we are kind of separating ourselves, and then that particular thing is killing 130 million people in the 20th century. There's actual statistics that were there. So this separativeness is toxic for us, leave alone the other person. But so when they do that, do we want to react or do we want to respond with positivity, with love? Thank you.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Y'all, this has been a fantastic first week back after a 6-week hiatus. And I'm telling you right now, it's so beautifully put. Dr. Rao, thanks for the ad, man. Thanks for the ad. And I appreciate that, because the truth of the matter is that, we all have more in common than we don't. And I think that when we don't sit in love, we find ourselves really, really disjointed unnecessarily. John, did you have an ad? Okay, I think he might have been just off me by accident. Guys, listen, we'll be back on Monday. On Monday, it'll be a Mindset Monday. I'm going to talk about some things on Monday that if you're willing to lean in and to embrace and then do work around, it can really shift your world. A lot of people are looking at what Sheree and I have recently done as something that they need to look and live vicariously through us in order to feel some kind of joy. And I got a challenge with that, because the truth of the matter is that what we've done is more attainable than most people would ever imagine. The difference is that it was something we set our mind to do. That was it. That was the difference. And once we set our minds to stuff, Cherie and I have a habit of building things. And we've been doing it for almost 25 years. And it doesn't matter whether that's our children, whether that is our businesses, whether that is our health. We just kind of come through. And so I want to teach you guys how to shift some things in your world by changing how you see it. I will leave you with this. There are two ways to change. One, you can change your circumstances and move from one thing to another. Or two, you can change your perspective. I'd like to thank you for joining us for Real Lessons in Life and Business. I'm Glenn P. Brooks Jr. This is a Face It Friday. Relationships, the good, the bad, the ugly. If we added value to you today, I need you to put a me in the chat. Let's go. Y'all know we can't go into the weekend without a good cookout song now. Come on. You pull up to the cookout, TM. If this ain't on, you in the wrong place. I don't care how many degrees you got. Dr. Tavis, you better tell them, listen, this is the one, this is the great equalizer right here. Frankie Beverly is anointed. I don't care what nobody says. I love it. I love it. Y'all be good. Here's what we know to be true. I need everybody on stage to get ready. I'm going to count you down. We got a drill we need to run right here. You can't get to any place of significance by yourself. And the reason that is in 3, 2, 1, it's because
we all need some.
Listen, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. There's no unity in this room. You see, listen, after that dissertation, this great work, like we got no participation. We're going to try this again. I know y'all wasn't ready. Okay, I am going to count you down. You're going to take your finger, hover it above your microphone. And then when I say 1, you're going to unmute it and you're going to say, we all need some help. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Ready. Okay, here we go. You cannot get to any place of significance by yourself. And the reason that is in 3, 2, 1, it's because we
all need some help.
Thank you. Y'all a mess. Y'all a mess. I love this. This room will end when the music does in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.